Hello friends, this is Vishal and welcome to the third video of the biology lesson number 1, the leaf of grade 6. In the previous two videos we have studied about the parts of the plant and the leaf, its parts and functions. Today we are going to continue with this modification of leaf. As you can see here, modification of leaves. Sometimes the complete leaf or a part of the leaf is modified to perform a special function. Now we know in different situations or different habitat, the plant has to adapt so that it can survive and be successful in that particular habitat. And to make sure that it will survive, it has to adapt. And for adaptation or adaptation, it is necessary that certain modifications are made in the plant. So today we are going to study about the modifications of leaf. The first one that we are studying here is leaf tendril. We know that each modification is done so that it can do a particular function. So for the performance of a particular special function, modifications are done. The first one we are going through here is leaf tendril. In case of certain weak stemmed plants, leaves or leaflets are modified into wiry, coiled structures called tendrils. Let's have a look at the structure here. Yes. So we can see here in the case of sweet potato, here certain wire-like structures have been formed. You can see here wire-like coiled structures. These are known as leaf tendrils. The reason why these have developed from leaflets is because the stem is weak. And since the stem is weak, to make sure that the plant can grow upright and all its leaves can be exposed to the sun, the leaf has to climb on some other support. It can be some other branch or some other structure which is near this plant, and for climbing it needs these tendrils to coil around and to hold on to that particular support so that the plant can grow in a particular direction. And since the stem is weak and cannot be rigid, this development of tendril we can see is to perform the act of holding on to certain rigid structures near the plant so that the plant can grow and climb up. So this is called as tendril, and it is actually a modification of leaf and leaflet. Let's go to the next one. Spines. Leaves are modified into spines to reduce water loss. Like cactus or in prickly poppy, leaves bear spines on the margin. So we can very clearly see that some of the leaves will be modified into spines so that through transpiration, water loss will not be done, or to reduce the water loss. This is found in prickly poppy or in cactus, as you may see here. Here you can see cactus, how the leaves have now become spines. This is the fleshy stem, and here we find the various spines. So these spines are actually leaves which are modified. Now since they become spines, they will not be able to lose water through transpiration. Let's go to the next one here. Scale leaves. As we see scale leaves in some plants like onion, we all have seen onion, and ginger, even ginger we have seen, thin and dry or thick fleshy scale leaves are present. And these scale leaves are present for the protection of buds. Okay, so we have seen the scale leaves are present in onion and in ginger. They are for the protection of buds. Now let's go through once again. So the modifications in the leaves that we are going through, first was leaf tendril, which is found in stems that are extremely weak, and the tendrils help in climbing. They're very sensitive to touch, these tendrils. So as soon as they touch any body that is firm enough to be gripped, they will coil around it and support the plant to climb up. The example is sweet pea. Then we came about spines, the second type of modification. Leaves that are modified into spines to reduce water loss, like in cactus. And then spines, you will find these in areas that are xerophytic or areas that are having very less water. So plants do not want to lose water that they already have. Then we come to scale leaves. The main function of scale leaf is to protect the buds. These are found in ginger and in onion. They are thin, dry. Sometimes they may be thick and fleshy. So this was modification found in leaves. Now we come to the next topic, which is insectivorous plants. Insectivorous, we can, as we know, the word insect we are aware of. Okay, so insectivorous plants, I believe by now you've guessed it well. These are plants that actually trap insects in one way or the other to meet their nitrogen demand. So generally we do not know plants to be non-vegetarian, or we do not consider that they will eat other organisms, but because in a particular place the soil is not rich with nitrogen, which is an important nourishment required for the plant, just to make sure that it can meet its nitrogen demand, it has made certain modifications in itself so that they can capture insects, and from the body of the insects they can get the nitrogen. First example here is pitcher plant. Pitcher, as we know, it is a structure just like a jug. You can see here, just like a jug, the structure, it's called like a pitcher here. Pitcher plant. In pitcher plant, the lamina is modified into the pitcher. The lamina of a leaf is modified into a pitcher. You can see the pitcher plant here very clearly. And here, the apex of the leaf forms the lid. So over the pitcher there is a lid. Over the pitcher there is one lid as well. This is the pitcher and this is the lid. So the apex of the leaf forms the lid, and the lamina makes the pitcher. Pitcher is made by lamina and the lid is made by the apex. Clear? Let's go further. And the petiole becomes leaf-like to manufacture food. So the petiole is green and the photosynthesis function is taken care of by it. Size of the pitcher may vary from 10 to 20 centimeters. When an insect like an ant sits on the rim of the pitcher, rim means at the edge, this edge here, you can see this edge, so this is the rim. So when an insect sits on the rim of the pitcher, suddenly the lid closes. So when the lid will close, the insect will get trapped, it will fall into the pitcher and it will be trapped inside the pitcher. At the bottom of the pitcher, enzyme juices are secreted which digest the animal protein. So then there are certain enzymes that digest the animal inside the pitcher. The pitcher plant is found in Garo and in Khasi Hills in Meghalaya. So generally these pitcher plants are found in Meghalaya. The soil in these areas is deficient in nitrates. The pitcher plant utilizes the insect's protein by converting it into nitrates, and therefore it helps the plant to get the necessary nitrates. The second one here is Venus flytrap. Venus flytrap, as you can see here, there's one fly also that is getting trapped. This is the Venus flytrap here. You can see here there are a lot of spines here on both the ends, and it's like a made of two flaps that will close against each other and trap the insect in between. So let's have a look. The leaves of Venus flytrap have long pointed hair. It is divided into two parts having midrib in between like a hinge. When an insect visits the leaf, it closes its two parts and traps the insect. So these two parts will close and the insect in between gets trapped. The insect is then digested by the digestive juices secreted by the plant. So once the insect is trapped, digestive juices will be secreted and the insect will be digested and the necessary nitrates will be absorbed by the plant. Then we come to bladderworth. Bladderworth, has highly segmented leaves. So bladderworth has highly segmented leaves. You can have a look at the diagram given here. So this is where we look at bladderworth. I always suggest that when you're going through the video, you can always have the book handy if you have it with you, my dear students. So you can see the bladderworth very clearly mentioned here. Some of the segments of these leaves form small bladder-like structures. The bladder has an entry point which can be closed. So it's just like a small pitcher, we can say. It has an entry point which closes as soon as the insect enters, and after that the insect cannot come out. So the digestive juices are secreted and then the insect is digested and the necessary nutrients are absorbed by the plant. So we came to know about insectivorous plants. We came to know that pitcher plant that is found in Meghalaya. We found Venus flytrap. We came to know about bladderworth. So these are insectivorous plants. The diagrams are very well mentioned here. Pitcher plant, Venus flytrap, and bladderworth. And here the bladder is given in a magnified form here as well. Then we come to the next topic, which is vegetative propagation in leaves. As the name suggests, vegetative propagation means that without the development of a seed or without sexual reproduction. So normally plants propagate with the help of seed contained in the fruit. This is normal. But in some new plants may also be produced from other parts of the plant, such as root, stem and leaves. So if a new plant is being formed other than the seed, apart from the seed or other than the seed, if a new plant is produced either from the root, stem or leaves, then we call it vegetative propagation. This reproduction is also known as vegetative propagation, and it is also found in root, stem and leaves, but here we are dealing only with leaves. And the example we have here is Bryophyllum plant. As you can see here at the margin of the leaf, this is a fleshy leaf that is seen there. On that fleshy leaf, if you are able to see, the small buds have developed. These small buds have developed at the edge of the leaf. Now these buds may break from here and fall to the ground. When they fall to the ground, they will again develop as a new plant. Each bud here is capable to fall on the ground, and when it does, it is capable of making a new plant, giving rise to a new plant. So the new plant is coming not out of a seed but from a bud that is developing at the margin of a leaf, and therefore we call it again a case of vegetative propagation. Let's have a look at the text. Plant structures which reproduce vegetatively must have some stored food. So we can see these leaves are quite fleshy, so they may store a lot of food in them. Stored food and a few vegetative buds to form adventitious roots and new shoot leaves. So once they fall down, they will make roots and a new shoot and leaves. Leaves of some plants such as Bryophyllum and Begonia produce buds along their margins. When these buds fall in moist soil, they begin to grow as young tiny plants and plantlets. So we came to know about vegetative propagation as well. With that, we actually come to the end of this particular chapter when it comes to reading the text. this particular chapter actually has 3 activities. If we have a look here, activity 1 says carefully dig out a small plant like balsam from the soil, gently wash the portion which was under the ground with tap water. Take a large size beaker or tumbler containing some water, keep the plant in it with its underground parts submerged in water. Observe the plant carefully and compare its parts. Identify the 2 main parts of the plant, one which was under the ground known as the root system and the other which was above the soil known as the shoot system. So I believe this can be easily done at home. You can just take a very tiny little plant that is in the soil. You can maybe the plant is just 2 to 4 inches above the soil. Such a tiny one you can take, and you can do this activity so that you can see that after washing the roots, how the roots are seen and how the entire plant is visible. So that activity you can do easily if you are willing to do. It doesn't need much explanation, that's why I'm not going into it. Similarly, activity number 2, take a peepal leaf and soak it in vinegar or water for a few days. Change the water every second day. Rub the leaf with your fingers gently. The green portion of the leaf will come out by rubbing. You will observe a very fine network of veins. Dry it as it may contain moisture. You can use this leaf to make a birthday card for your friend. So this is also a leisure time activity. In case you find the peepal plant and all you need to do is ask a little vinegar from your mother, and you can go ahead and use some water as well in case you want. Keep this plant for some time in the water till you are able to rub with your finger the leaf, and then you can dry it and you'll find that entire venation of the leaf. So it's a beautiful activity. If you find leisure time, you can do it, and it's easy to explain, so I don't need much to do here for you. Now activity 3, yes, this is something that we can look into. To demonstrate that a plant loses water by its leaves. So we have studied about transpiration. Let me just remind you, transpiration is the loss of water in the form of water vapor from the aerial parts of the plant, which we are aware of. So here we are saying that can we prove it? Yes, it's easy. We are taking, what we do, take 2 small sized well watered potted plants. So these 2 potted plants we have taken, they were well watered with few branches as well. Now place a polythene bag over the plant as shown. So take a polythene bag and you can just place it over both the plants here. We are marking one plant as A and the other as B. Now we have to do a little destructive experiment here. Remove all the leaves from the plant B. So from plant B we have removed all the leaves, and then we have covered it with polythene bag, and then with a tight rubber we have sealed it as well. So what we have done here, for plant A we did not do anything. We just took a polythene bag and we sealed the base with a rubber band here, and then plant B, unfortunately, we plucked out all the leaves, and then we put a polythene bag over it and we put a rubber band here. We marked A and B. A is with leaves, B is without leaves. And now let's have a look and see. Place the plant in sunlight and observe them after 4 to 5 hours or 4 to 6 hours. You will notice that the water droplets have appeared on the inner surface of the polythene bag over the plant A, which has leaves, and there are no water droplets appearing in the polythene bag of plant B, which has no leaves. So after some time, when you find that there will be water droplets inside of the polythene bag with the plant that has leaves, and there will be no water droplets. So this proves that from leaves the water is lost through transpiration, and that was what we wanted to prove. So where there are leaves, there was water that came out of the leaves. Where there were no leaves, no water came out, so nothing was over the polythene on the inner side. So we have been able to demonstrate that a plant loses water by its leaves. No leaves, no water loss. Leaves were there, water loss. So with that we proved. Okay, so these were the three activities that we came across. The fourth activity here, again, not much of explanation is required, still I'll take you through. It talks about to grow bryophyllum by vegetative reproduction. Take a fully grown leaf of bryophyllum with some adventitious buds growing. So you need a particular, when you go to a nursery or to a garden where you find bryophyllum is already growing, you need a specimen or you need a particular plant that is already having some buds on the margin. Then we go further and have a look. Cut the leaf into bits, each containing a growing adventitious bud. So when we find that, we have to just cut the leaf from that particular part where the entire adventitious bud is actually a part of that cut portion. Put these buds in a flower pot and cover them under moist soil, keeping the emerging buds just projecting out of the surface. So it is just like that. We just cut this bud from here, put it into a earthen pot or a flower pot. Make sure that the aerial part of the bud is outside and the inner part of the bud is or the roots of the bud that are coming out are actually in the soil. Observe it after 10 to 12 days. Tiny plantlets will grow out from the bud. Well, if the bud catches or if the bud finds the suitable environment to grow, you will be finding that these buds now are converted into tiny plantlets or small plants. And the conclusion is bryophyllum is a plant whose leaves produce adventitious buds in their margin. The adventitious buds grow into new plants when they fall off from the parent plant. So with that, we have completed this entire chapter, no problem at all. And I believe the exercise may not be difficult for you. You will be easily able to do the exercise. The long answers, all the long answers are available in the text that we have gone through. It will be not difficult for you. Just go through the questions and go through the text, and you can do the reading along with the videos that I have made for you. So there have been 3 videos where we have done word by word reading and explanation. I hope these video part 1, part 2 and part B of the leaf was helpful for you, and with that we have covered of this particular lesson. So thank you so much for watching this video. God bless you, and be in touch with your studies. So be safe, be smart. Thank you.
विश्वानिदे सवितुर्वृतानि परासु यस्तु भद्रं तन्नोऽस्तु विश्वानिदे। हे विश्व के ईश्वर, सभी तो माने सभी दुर्गतानि माने सारे दुर्गुणों को परासु परासु माने दूर कर दीजिए। यत भद्रम, जो हमारे भले के लिए हो उन्हें प्रदान कीजिए। यत भद्रम तन्न आसु।